All right, hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Team Next Level Quad Pod. I'm Coach Greg, joined today by James, Marilyn, and Rich. What's up, folks? How's everybody doing?
Hello.
Good. Hi.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, never knew I said that as much until somebody pointed out. Okay, I'm gonna have to come up with a new.
No,
No.
I don't think you should change.
Now I'm gonna be
No,
so
yeah.
self-conscious.
I know, right? But
Don't
they shouldn't
change.
have. They
Yeah.
made you self-conscious about it.
Who said it? You?
No,
Yvonne.
Oh. Yeah.
That's okay.
she's a bully.
You know, I invited her to swim with us tomorrow. I'm going to invite her.
No.
Take it back.
Mhm.
All right, so we got two things to go over today, and they're both sort of tied together. James, you had quite the experience this weekend at Jones Beach 70.3. It was supposed to be, by registration numbers, the largest 70.3 Ironman maybe ever.
I think initial numbers were like 4,800 people registered
Yeah.
for this event. And I mean,
And
They're
that's
definitely
huge.
and the
Mhm.
venue could hold it because they're used to the beach.
Right.
I mean, they're mainly out of this one parking lot, but they had extra parking lots if they needed to. Transition area was huge. I mean,
So that's what I was going to ask. Was transition set up, you think, for 4,800 people?
yeah, but I think they did remove some racks before the day, like race day, because
Okay.
they knew they weren't going to use them all. But like relay was all the way on the end, so like the whole first, I don't know, half of transition was full, and then a bunch of empty racks, and then we were like all day at the other end. So they
Oh.
were planning to fill up that whole thing.
Mhm.
Right. So the reason that this race was not attended to as well as its registration numbers, the weather, we knew the weather was going to be absolutely abysmal, and it delivered, right?
Yeah, and also I think this race affected Tough Man too. They said Tough Man was one of the lowest. It was like empty this year.
Was Tough
Was
Man
it
the
the
week
same day?
before?
The week before,
The
Yeah.
week before.
and so a lot of people, the vibe was that they had registered for Jones Beach instead. and
Okay.
weren't going to do Tough Man. I think, and Westchester. I think that race has been on
Westchester
there.
was the same day,
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think
and that got canceled.
and I heard that race, based on just what I've read online, like that was on the decline anyway.
Mm.
And then I don't when is Harryman? Is that close? or no?
Springtime.
Okay.
That's an early
So I think it was
season.
mainly those two, Tough Man and Westchester.
Mhm.
I don't know if Iron Man is doing Iron Man things where they're
Yeah.
choking out those races, and then they'll put this whatever date they want.
But I mean,
Um,
yeah, this race has the potential to be
Huge.
Mhm.
massive because, like you said, it's set up for it. I mean, Jones Beach. How many? I've never been to a concert at Jones Beach, but
There's a huge like amphitheater
right. I mean,
right on
that's
the
gotta-
water.
How many people does that thing hold? We're talking
Not a
like
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thousands. Like so. That's the thing. I think the logistics of putting on a race of that size, you need a huge amount of space, and that's a spot that has it.
Luckily, so one of the complaints I've heard about the race though was the logistics of they basically funneled everyone into one parking lot, field 5, and then single file. So
But isn't that how we went into Muscle Man? We went in single file.
I guess so. But if you were gonna, if,
NAC was single file too.
I guess because they had the opportunity to if they had police directing, you could have had like 2 lanes of traffic going in at least.
Okay.
And then using overflow parking lots if field 5 was full. But because there were people who like were running into swim because they just got there, like
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
because it was so backed up. Apparently, once you came after a certain point in time, so we
Okay.
got there right
Yeah.
as transition opened.
Mm-hmm.
We waited like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to
Okay.
get through the line. But people who would come later, they were stuck online for over half an hour or
That's
more.
what
or
I heard.
something.
People that got there after like 5:30 or 6 or something were stuck there for a really long
Yeah,
time.
like people had no
That's
time
it.
to get ready,
Yeah.
and then like people were just like running, trying to get to swim, and so I think they made. I don't know, but
Okay.
they'll have to fix
And
that
that
next
was
year.
a smaller amount of people. Can
And
you
that was with-
imagine
yeah.
if
Yeah,
you
if it
doubled
was the
that? I
full-
feel
Yeah.
like we can't say 50%, but if 40% didn't go, let's just use easy numbers. 50%, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So 50% more people is like,
How many
Yeah.
finishers did they have? Do we know?
let's go with 2,200.
That's what I heard. It's like something 22 something.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in a way, it was good for them that that
Yeah.
storm did happen. Otherwise, it could have been
It
like
could have been ugly.
logistical nightmare.
Well, they
Right.
would have started late.
Or maybe
right?
they would have
Maybe.
opened up
the other lots.
the other lots.
sooner.
Maybe they only did that because they knew they'd have less people.
Yeah.
How far was the parking lot from the transition area?
Oh, really close.
It's pretty much the same area.
Yeah, not like Muscle Man. So that's what made it perfect for a bad weather and relay race. Like we were able to just hop back in and out of the car as we were waiting. So worked out perfectly in that sense.
So you went in.
Was it?
Go ahead.
Was it grass or was it grass? Like what was the
parking
transition?
lot? So it's paved for the parking lot. So no mud, which is good, but puddles everywhere.
What about transition though?
Transition? Yeah, it was all in that.
It was
huge,
paved?
Yeah, all paved.
Oh, okay.
It's perfect. So yeah, no mud to deal with. The only sand was coming from the beach into transition, but definitely it's a really good venue. The weird thing though was where finish was set up was like you wouldn't even know how to get, like when Koichi was finishing, we were like in a panic because like where's the finish line? Like we knew we had to cross over, and the only like underpass was like on the race course, but then someone told us there's a second one. We sprinted out there and it was like kind of remote, and they did something weird this year where a lot of the spectating for the finish was only for VIP. So like regular people can see before the finish, like in a like a bleacher area, but then I guess the prime area was for VIP and higher. So Nirvana.
That's similar to like New York Marathon does that.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yeah, like you can't be at the finish line and watch.
So that's probably what they're copying that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did have like a lot of VIP and Nirvana tents at this one.
So before we even go into the actual day, should we talk about the day before, race pickup, packet pickup, and some of the practice that you guys did?
Yeah. I mean, that was huge. So they had originally the whole swim course was supposed to be open on Friday. And don't waste any time there. So my goal was to try to swim the whole course just to, get comfortable with it. And then when we get there, we're like, it was so windy. Like the flags were flying like full, I don't know what you call it, but it was definitely on the higher end. A lot of chop, but you couldn't really tell from the shore. Like you saw waves rolling in. So we get out there and they're like, oh, you can only swim up to the first set of red buoys, is what they did. Because they said lifeguards. There weren't enough lifeguards, or what we really found out was like it was just way too choppy out there. So we swam out there. The first 100 yards is fine, 200, but it's, starting to feel balance. As soon as you get like 300-400 yards and getting closer to the buoys, like you are really just like bouncing up and down, and it's not consistent because it's not a tide. It's like the wind. So depending on how the wind was blowing, you might have a big wave, then a small wave, no wave. It was just inconsistent. So in the beginning, I was just fighting the water, trying to like power through it, and it was like very stressful, and I had to stop and gather my thoughts. And then after one lap, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, that's it. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do them tomorrow, but I was like, for now, I'm done. Yeah. And then luckily, Ivana and Koichi were there. They're like, no, just like, let's try another one. And so sure enough, we do another one and it feels a little bit better. Then we're like, let's do another one. So they just kept making me do more. So after like 4 laps, finally I figured out, all right, just float with the wave. Don't try to push hard through it. Just stay calm. And so like, all right, I think I can do this tomorrow. Like at least I knew not to fight the wave. So if I had not done that swim, I don't even know if I would have made it through the next day.
Nice.
So how was it the next day? Was it the same or worse?
The next day was worse. So as soon as we got like it was like a wind tunnel. Like the transition was like, raining and a little bit of wind. But as soon as you get onto the shore, it's just like this wind tunnel blasting at you. You're like, oh, this is not good. And it just looked even rougher from the shore. So part of me was like, okay, well, I'm hoping, my theory was that where the red buoys were is kind of like the bay kind of chokes down a little bit and then it opens back up to the wider section. I was like, maybe there's a little like Bernoulli's principle going on there that the waves are just getting bigger, and then once I get past there, maybe it'll
be smaller.
That was like my only hope. I didn't know because we didn't get to go past there. But I was like, all right, I was like, let me just. Was my approach. I was like, I'm just gonna get to that point, know it's gonna be bad, and then hopefully it's like better there, and that won't even be halfway. Like that would have been like a quarter of the swim. Right. So that was my like strategy. And then I think Yvonne that morning was like, look, if you really don't feel safe doing it, like, you don't have to do that. It's like, now it's like too late now. Like this whole time I've been like trying to hype myself up saying like, I brought you guys here. Right. Like I can't DNF. I have to do this. Yeah. Like I'm not going to make you come out here for nothing. But this was literally like, I always joke around on swims that I'm like, I feel like I'm going to die. Like it's just the feeling I have because I just get so stressed. Something stresses me out over the point I could take it. I feel like I'm gonna die. I was like, this time I felt like I literally could die. Like,
I don't need to panic about it
Like-
because it's real.
like this time
It's
it's
real.
really. I was like, I have to do this. Like, I was like saying to myself, I'm willing to die
Oh,
to
Aw.
like so that they could
James.
finish the race. Like, it's either gonna
No, but if you die, they don't
They
go.
don't finish
I was, like,
So-
I was willing to risk my
Yvonne's
death.
waiting in T2.
Yeah.
Like, where the hell is this guy?
damn, it's
He
a slow
better be
swim.
dead.
Yeah.
So then that's what I found out, like a little bit, like after the race, a day or two, Yvonne was saying she was either hoping maybe I would die at sea or DNF so that she wouldn't have to,
She wouldn't have to do the
the bike. But when I came back, I was like, all right, this is actually happening.
So it was in her mind, I could actually die during
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but I'm here with 2 other people.
But so, I'm
Before you go get in the water, what's the vibe of everybody milling around waiting to start? Is everybody kind of like quiet and nervous, or like did it feel different than the start of any other race?
It was weird when we pulled into transition. Like the first announcement I hear is like, if you're not going to race today, find a volunteer, let them know, we'll take care of you. So it's almost like they're like
Please don't
Please.
race today.
like
Yeah.
asking people if like you don't feel comfortable, like
Yeah.
this is not the race
Mhm.
for you
Yeah.
to do it, because like there were a lot of first timers
I bet.
Probably. Yeah.
for this race, so they were just saying like, well, you can defer, whatever, we'll take care of you. Like,
Mhm.
don't feel like you have to do this. Was like
Yeah.
the initial. So it's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
But then I was
This
like,
is
no, it's kind of like the whole thing, like with when you're at Treblon and like
You're
should
here.
be racing. Like if everyone else is doing, like you're just kind of stuck in that
Yeah.
moment. Like you're not really thinking about you yourself. You're just like, if everyone else is doing it, then I
Mhm.
guess it's okay to do it. So I think everyone was like probably wondering what was going to happen at the swim. Like people are, is it canceled? Is it happening? Or they were like telling everyone, swim is on, line up, get into the corrals. They're doing that. And then it was like, then they made the announcement as it was like, I think they wanted everyone in the swim area by 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was like 6:40 where they're like, we're shortening the swim to 7:50.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then like they literally like where you're watching the jet skis go out there and redo the buoys,
Mhm.
and then they're like reconfiguring the course, explaining it. So then I think, at least for me, it was like this huge,
Yeah.
Sigh
Sigh
of
of
relief.
right?
because that's basically what we swam
Yeah.
on the practice swim. So I was like, all right, I did that, like, so I should be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But for a brief moment, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sprint this whole thing. Like
Yeah.
in my head, I was like, oh yeah, all right, I know this. I
Yeah.
can do this. I'm gonna go all out. I don't care. Didn't work out that way. For a brief moment, I had some confidence. But there are people who are just like, oh, what's the point of doing the swim? Like, if they're only doing this much, like, don't even do the swim. Like,
Yeah.
this is like, people are upset, 'cause especially like they were like, they wanted a full 70.3, all this
Mhm.
stuff. But
there's
I
always going to be somebody complaining about
Yeah. it does
I
matter.
think if they had done it the full swim, like I'm assuming it was not any better past
Yeah.
that point.
Uh-huh.
And I think the lifeguards were basically all they wouldn't have been able to help people, like,
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be spread
It's
out
hard
too
to
far.
see people.
and just
in
for
the
them to
waves.
get out, like like they're on paddle boards,
Mhm.
Right.
So, like most of them were on paddle
It's not even
boards,
safe for them.
some kayaks, and a couple jet skis. Like I don't even know if like you could paddle out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would have been so hard for them to do that. So this way they were able to concentrate all the help that they did have
Mhm.
Right.
and cover everyone well versus leave some,
Mhm.
I guess, blank spots.
Sure. Okay. So the swim, let's talk about the swim then. You're in the water. What happened?
So again, like the first couple hundred were fine. I was just
How many people went in at a time?
I think like 4 or 5 at a
Okay.
time. 5 at a time every 5
Right.
seconds. And then it was like pretty decent like run up into it. So my
Mhm.
thought was like, let me run kind of hard to get my heart rate up, get warmer, and then make up some time in the swim, because the
To
time matters,
run
right?
into the water, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He was like going to try the Jesus walk on water
Yeah.
approach. He's like, if I run fast, can I
I
run on
ran
water?
for a pretty
cartoons.
good distance and like jogged in the water for. I was like, I knew it was gonna be tough.
Did you dive in like into the waves? Like
No,
Dolphin
there,
dive. He
there
was
wasn't.
like,
There wasn't high waves at the start, like in the beginning. Like what was good that it was like it kind of progressively got worse as you got
Okay,
further out, so
that's good.
you could kind of get in a groove. So I was like, I try to think about being calm and
Mhm.
just ease into it. I knew that it was going to be slower going out because I'm going against the wind, and then hopefully make up the
Mhm.
time on the way back. So basically, it was like I ended up like kind of the lifeguards flanked both sides of like they almost made a
Oh, that's
channel.
good.
Okay.
I ended up like in the middle of that, And so I started getting, maybe I was like 100 yards from the first red buoy when it started to get really choppy. It's got really congested. This is where, like, I think it was like the most kind of washing machine feeling. I remember I stopped. I was like in a breaststroke, and I was like looking to my left, and I see the kayak guy or the paddleboard guy about, I don't know, 15, 20 feet away from me. I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to go over there. Just hold on, calm down. And then I'm like, but that's kind of far. So then I was like looking to my right, and it's because I'm in the middle. I'm like, oh, that guy is far too. And then so I do a 180 in the water just to see what's going on behind me, and I see like the next wave of people coming.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I just got to go. Then I was like, forget it. So I just like breaststroked for a little bit because it's just like bouncing so high, and it's like I couldn't get my breathing, like I couldn't stay calm because I felt like I kept dropping so hard. But it was like eventually I was like, all right, get to that red buoy. First one was okay. Swam a little bit. Had to take like same thing. I had to like breaststroke a little bit. And finally, once I got to the second turn buoy, it was starting to turn. The wind was starting to get at my back. So it was just getting out to those two buoys. Like I thought I was gonna die again for real. But I was able, like at least I think there was a current pulling me out, even though the wind was coming. Even though it was a headwind, I feel like there was a current pulling me out. Because when I look at my file, my swim splits were like, for the first 500 and the second 500 were the same.
Mm-hmm.
So something was pulling me out because I definitely didn't swim the whole time. I took at least like 2 or 3 breaks in breaststroke. And when I turned around, I was just like flying. I could just feel it. I was gliding. I was like, oh, this is what Greg feels like when he swims. Because it's like very little effort. I was actually getting out of breath because I was trying to pull so hard to ride that extra current. So, you know, I have mixed feelings. Like, I don't know if I gained any confidence or lost confidence. Because if I had a very confident swim and made it through, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. Like nothing's ever gonna be worse than this. Most likely, maybe, but most likely because I like struggled a little bit. I'm like, all right, I survived it. I know, like most likely the races we're doing next aren't going to be like that, so I should be okay. Yeah. But it's not like it's still in the back of my head. Like, oh, did I like?
I don't think anyone could have been confident.
Yeah, I don't know too many people who would have gone into that and been like, yeah, this is gonna be a great day.
So when
for
you
me.
do like, you weren't confident, but now when you do like a normal, let's say, race, you're gonna be like, oh, this is.
I hope so.
There
So
was
we'll
Greg, a Navisync swim a couple of years ago, and the water was cold and choppy, right? You did the 2 milers on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that one.
A lot of the same stuff James is talking about. I don't know how choppy it was though. I don't remember it being super choppy. It was more of a cold thing, and it was more like the air was cold. Once I got in the water, it wasn't too bad. I've done ocean swims though, where it's wavy, and you know it's tough to get into a rhythm. It's tough to time your breathing so that you're taking a breath at the right spot, and
not getting hit with a splash in your mouth.
Right.
Did you get that?
So I had enough practice doing it wrong the first day because I was doing that bad habit of sighting and then having my mouth open and then water going right in. That this time I was much more like, all right, don't breathe when I'm sighting. Wait till you turn to the side. Yeah. It was just that sometimes I couldn't get that breath on the side because all of a sudden water would be like going over my head. And I was like, oh, like that would just add more.
Right.
More
You almost
anxiety.
like, but if you're I don't. When I've done ocean swims, I like feel like 50. I expect to not get a full breath. Like you just have to. I'm breathing every stroke or every left side, and it's just like, okay, it might be a good one, it might be a bad one, but I can make it. I can make it another set of strokes, even if I get a mouthful of water. Like that's not putting you at the edge.
And I thought of a strategy next time that if I end up in that situation, it's like similar when we run and you feel like you can't go anymore. You're like, oh, like choose that like street sign, like get to that. I think I'll just do like a stroke count and say like just try 4 strokes and then see how you feel, and just like keep like forcing 4 strokes, 5 strokes, 6 strokes, and just until I get like snap out of whatever I'm feeling. Versus like, because at first I was gonna go buoy to buoy, but that's like too long.
Far.
It's too far. I just gotta go by like to pick a stroke number and just say do that, and then maybe I can snap myself out of it. But the afterwards I realized I swam like an extra 200 something yards because I was all over the place. Like, oh man,
Could have been from the current too, though. No, right?
I don't know. I have to look at some other people's like files, but I was like, oh, I didn't realize I swam so much extra until I was like looking at Matt's file, and that's because he had a really good race. I think he swam like 800 something yards. And I was like, oh, wait, is that like.
So he swam extra too, even.
I mean, it was 750 meters. So I
Oh,
think
yeah,
800
yeah,
is
yeah.
pretty
It's
pretty
about-
solid. I was like
Mhm.
1,000. I did 1,000 something, 1,046. I was like, oh, oops.
Maybe that was your run into the water. Maybe he hit his
Yeah.
watch when he got to the water.
Also.
Maybe. If you see my file, I have this weird curve I did. It's like,
Mhm.
I remember the lifeguards, they were like telling me to get back to the left. But yeah, I survived it. 17 minutes and change, I think, 1750 something from.
Yeah, nice short day for you.
Mhm.
Only 200 calories burned. I was
It's
definitely
like a
feeling.
rest day.
Yeah.
It was because I had nothing else to do, and then handed off to Yvonne to go on the bike, and she had a much more conservative goal going out there. She was going to try to do like 15 miles an hour average, thinking. I think it was a 2-loop bike course,
Mhm.
so she was estimating almost like 4 hours for
Mhm.
this. She flew through the thing, so she had a bit of a headwind going out. But we were watching her splits. Like I think her first one, she was at like 16 miles an hour
She did
average.
so
and
good.
then she's like 24. I was like, wow, she's like really, really
What you
moving.
guys have.
So it was. She said it was not too bad, I think, in the moment.
Mhm.
But afterwards, she was starting to like, her teeth were chattering. She's like shivering
Yeah.
because she was just completely drenched. The one thing that she found a tip on was using a Mylar blanket. So one person said to wrap it around like your core
Mhm.
to kind of lock in the heat, but she thought that'd be too hot. So what she ended up doing was just like wrapping it, I think, into like a little bit of like a log shape, and she just put it into that back pocket of
Mhm.
the kit. And just that alone, like it was retaining heat, and it felt like she had like a
wow.
warmer
Really?
in the back of her.
I would
her
have
kit.
never
Yeah, me neither.
thought to do
Interesting.
Yeah.
that.
So that she said really helped her a lot because that one area was just concentrated heat
Was
radiating
warm.
back to her, and then she was good.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then funny story, she said she was like the last time she'd done aid stations, I guess was like AC. And she's like,
AC.
yeah. She's like, oh, it's fine. Like, you grab the water, you're good. So she's pulling up to the aid station. First person knocks it right out of their hand, slips. Second person knocks that one. Third person knocks it out of their hand. Fourth person knocks. So
Oh
fifth
my
one, by the time
God.
she got the fifth person, she says she's laughing because she keeps. So it just looks like she's just knocking every
Knocking
bottle
them all
down
over.
on
Because
purpose.
they're all slippery and
Yeah.
wet, probably.
I think she had gloves, so her hands were wet, and then she it was raining, windy. She just knocked down every single bottle of water.
Did she get the last one?
I don't know if she got it till the next aid station
Oh my
because then it was
God.
like food or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so eventually she got a bottle, but like it was as if she was just going there, just like knocking them all down for
The
fun.
people behind must have been like, "Oh my God, what
Yeah,
the
this
heck?"
idiot
Yeah.
basically, or they thought she was doing it on purpose because she was laughing
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, she powered through it, finished just under 3 hours. I think it was like 2:57 or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
on a
good.
road bike.
on a
Yeah.
road bike in terrible conditions. She forgot her arm sleeves. She wore her sunglasses. She said that helped, even though you didn't
Mhm.
need sunglasses,
Yeah,
but
'cause
just
it
the
wasn't going
rain
in.
pelting into your face. She said a couple turns. It was very discouraging because like you whatever the turn at towards the end, I think to get into transition, like she hit it and it was like a wall of wind. Like
Mhm.
it just
Ugh.
like sucked all the energy out of them. And
Wow.
then especially when it was the first loop because
Yeah,
like
you
like,
know you have to
you
come
gotta
back
go back out
again.
and do it again.
Yeah.
And we drove a little bit of the course leaving, and it's like a steady climb up. Like you're going up the Wantock, and there's like a bridge, and it's just like the steady climb up. So it wasn't like a lot of elevation yet, but it's just over a long stretch. So I just imagine headwind,
Mhm.
rain, that. You know,
Mhm.
That's not 17 minutes.
no, but a lot of mental toughness. But
Yeah.
she probably
Good for
had
her.
the hardest part, and
Yeah.
then Koichi comes ready for the run. And he, from the get-go, I mean, I think the goal was just make it feel a little bit of race pace. But I think it was more in like the 8:30
Yeah,
zone.
we had talked about kind of running it as he would have run if he had done the whole first part, like done the race himself. So instead of targeting half marathon pace, he was targeting like half Ironman run pace.
Yeah.
And he threw that out the
right out the
window.
door. Like he was, I think, 7-minute mile, like first mile,
Yeah.
7 and change. He was feeling good. I think he was just amped up because he hadn't, like he was just waiting the whole time. He did a little 15-minute warm up run. I was ready to go. He had a hot dog before, like we were,
perfect size.
yeah.
How was the
Good size.
It was a good hot dog.
Good
Yeah, it was
size.
good size. Yeah, I had that and some waffle fries after my swim because I was
Optimal.
like famished after the swim, and I didn't think about like, oh man, there's like another.
Yeah, I mean, 17 minutes of work. What
Yeah.
who wouldn't be fast?
But he had to
course.
keep his body so much warmer.
This was
in those-
before or after you sat on our Discord
Right.
call while we're
This was after
During-
the Discord
Okay.
call, I think. Yeah, we're just talking.
It was good though. You made the first hour go by quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm having the hot dog, and then Queechy, I was like, that's a bold choice before a run.
I
you
know.
But apparently, maybe that's gonna be his thing now because he had a really great run.
he did. Maybe that'll
Um,
be in like his halfway bag or something like that.
Special needs
Hot
bag.
dog.
Special needs bag is
I
gonna
need
have
some
a hot dog.
dogs. Yeah, he ran like a 140 something.
143, I think.
Yeah, and he was just flying. But so he had the headwind, but when he figured out once the tailwind hit him, he said he felt like he was floating.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I know I'm supposed to go slow, but it's like he didn't want to waste this effort, so he just pedaled to the metal.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about with you that he started drafting people when there was a headwind, so then he's cutting a couple seconds off his mile splits.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think everyone kind of felt like they didn't want to let the next person down because that person put in that effort. So it was just like, give the best thing you could. And
Right.
There's no sense of no one was going to quit. We're all here for each other. So it's like we didn't want to throw away someone's effort.
Yeah.
Which
That's
leads
good.
me to a funny story. There was a lady who came off the bike on relay, about the same stature as you,
hmm
and she gets off the bike. And she is livid because the relay partner is not there waiting. She's like, "Where is he?" Like, and then like she's like, "Where is?" And she's like, I think she was like either slammed her sunglasses down or like she was pissed. And then finally, it wasn't that long. The guy was gone me for 30, maybe a minute, second most, and he's still just kind of lazily walking over to her,
Oh
and
my
she's like,
God.
"I was out there busting my ass for you."
Yeah.
And you're not even here. She's like, get out there and run right now. Like she was angry. I was like,
Oh
no,
my
she's
God.
like, she's got some Maryland energy there. I was like, if that was us, yeah, I think Maryland would be pissed because
I get
if
it.
you
Such a bad
suffered,
rap.
if you suffered on the bike course, and then like I just come out moseying out, like, oh yeah, I was just eating a hot dog. Sorry, like
I would kill you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh wow.
If you said I was
Wiping
eating a hot
ketchup.
dog.
It was funny. The guy had like a garbage bag over him. Like he wasn't even like because then he peeled the garbage bag off. Then I even saw him like as he left, like he had a jacket on under, so then his bib wasn't showing, and then the people stopped
Oh,
like, "Where's your bib?"
God.
So he had to like.
He's a mess.
So like it was just like whatever time maybe that she made up was just thrown out like right there.
Wow.
He should have been ready.
He
She's out there
should've.
for 3 hours
Yeah,
pushing it,
I
and he's
know.
like
in that
walking over.
in any weather, but
Yeah,
in
with the
that weather
trackers. I
even
mean, it was
more.
pretty. Like we didn't wait to see like people like make it to the last time at like
Mhm.
you can anticipate
Sure.
right.
when they're coming. So, but then actually, some people said the timing wasn't working, and some people didn't get a finish time. It
Oh
was
my God! Could
yeah.
you imagine doing that race and not getting a
And not
finish
getting
in
one?
time?
Yeah.
yeah, especially surviving through
I
that.
would. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
But I think I think it has a potential to be a great race. It's with no like that early in the morning. It took us like an hour and 10 to get there.
Right.
So like for a fun team,
that's less than what
Relay?
we've done for the other
I
ones.
think if we
Mhm.
made that like our official relay race, where
Mhm.
like if there's some newer members who like want to try, but they can't do all 3 legs, like
Right.
that could be the race. We
Mhm.
bring the team,
Yeah.
do
You
a
get-
leg,
yeah, it could
You
be
get a
fun.
vibe for what like an Ironman event feels like.
Yeah.
You know,
because it's a big event. It's
It's huge, and it makes me wonder though. Like you're saying, logistically, they had some issues with half the number of people.
I think they'll
I-
figure it
well,
out.
I'm sure
I think
they'll
they
figure it out
have to
next
have
year.
that high number though to make it actually possible because they shut down a highway, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the cool
the
thing.
cost of
Uh,
that
yeah.
has got to be astronomical. Like
That's what I was trying to
legit
figure out.
shut it down, right? Because like
Yeah.
One side of it, or like
both sides, because you had to do U-turns, so there's no way to like just turn around and like come
Do
back
one.
the same side. Like they had both sides closed.
because like at AC, right? You guys had one lane of the Atlantic City, like
Not
Yeah.
even. I think it was.
No,
well,
we were
some
on the
places the
shoulder.
shoulder.
Yeah, it was the
Oh,
shoulder.
just the
It was
shoulder?
just
Some
the
Yeah, they
places
didn't
shoulder.
close
lane.
down.
Yeah, maybe they closed down one lane.
Yeah.
But
yeah. What I'm saying is not the whole highway
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
the whole-
no, the cars
So
are
like
still
to
passing.
shut that down.
One lane of one side.
So what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I don't think they can run this race with 2,500 people. I think they have to sell it for 5,000.
I wonder what it costs to shut down a highway though. Like it's not a toll highway, but and I guess I don't know if it's like you just pay for the police that are blocking
Yeah, why would it
exits.
cost?
You don't think that they have to pay to shut down a highway like
Well, they
that?
have to definitely pay the
wild.
police.
Talk about
You
like
have to pay
like
the police,
but the Grand Fondo
who are you paying?
and New York Grand Fondo,
Yeah.
they have a rolling road closure, and that's they've talked about the cost of that. It's
But don't they close the bridge? I mean, that's different. They close the lower level of the GW bridge. No,
I think so,
Yeah, they
That's
go across
different.
the
but
bridge.
that's not the only thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It might cost whatever the state revenue is for whatever.
That's what I'm
that
saying,
town.
though. There's no toll on
Right.
that road. So
Yeah,
I don't
but
know how
people
they
come
calculate.
visit, right?
I don't
People
know.
spend
I'm just
money.
there's no way you can be like, oh,
It's not
listen, we
free.
want to
How are
have
you
a
gonna
big
measure
right.
that? Yeah.
We want to have an event at Jones Beach, and
Can we just get
we're just
gates
gonna
closed?
close the
we're
road.
just gonna shut the road down. Okay.
Or you'd be like, I just want to shut the road down. Why?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nah.
Doesn't cost anything, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely every exit, they had to have police or barricades. So
That
no,
would
no
be
one
a
ends
big
up on the
expense.
highway.
Yeah.
So I could see the police cost
A lot.
because they shut it down starting at 5 a.m., I believe.
Okay.
3 a.m.? No, 5 a.m. I think 5 a.m. And then however many. It was still closed when we were leaving. So,
That cost is
Yeah.
huge.
That's what I'm saying.
5
Like
to 5.
I
you
like-
need to have so many participants to actually
Mhm.
make that event go
yeah,
off.
it might be like you need at least 1,000 just to cover that.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
thing.
one part of the race.
Mm-hmm.
And the lifeguards had to have been expensive.
Yeah.
Because these are legit lifeguards.
Yeah,
I
they're
think-
the beach
I guess-
lifeguards.
I would hope
Legit
that
lifeguards.
they like
No,
that.
they're probably the beach
Tell
lifeguards,
us about
right?
the
Jones-
non-legit lifeguards.
I
Oh,
mean,
I've seen those.
these guys are ready to pull people out of the
Yeah.
water. Like they're amped up.
Did you see anybody getting? pulled
Yeah,
up?
I saw people. I don't not pulled, but a lot of people were taking advantage of holding on to
Mhm.
the kayaks or the paddle boards and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I was like, when I kept seeing, I was like, oh, maybe I should do that too. I was like, just like reinforcement in my head that I should. But it was really the second half though. I don't even know how many times I lifted my head up because I was able to the current just kind of
Yeah.
Mm.
pulled
took you in. They had the ambulance lights on the shore,
Mhm.
right where
Oh,
the like,
nice.
swim
So you could
entrance
see.
was, so I could
Oh, nice.
swim
That
exit,
makes
so
it
I could
easy.
just
That's a good one.
I could just look at the flashing lights, which were good.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be a good team relay
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
race to do in the future.
Yeah, we'll have to
Mhm.
see when the dates line up and stuff.
Yeah.
But that would be fun.
Mhm.
So what we said we'd talk about is how we can prepare for something like that, because it's not always going to be 65 and sunny for your race. And heat, there's tons of stuff out there about heat adaptation and dealing with the heat and stuff like that. But I don't think there's a ton of info out there about how people deal with the cold. And,
Mm-mm.
And
and rain, wet and cold is dangerous.
Ugh.
Yep.
There's a
So,
few races that I've heard about people have done where it's wet and cold, and the DNF rate is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know John, maybe his first 70.3, he did Lake Placid 70.3 when they still had that race. And he said, I think he said it was like 34 degrees at
Yeah.
the start, air
Like,
temperature.
It was
That's
freezing.
not fathomable. I wouldn't.
Right.
I don't know.
And then you dive in. Now, the water's still relatively warm, but you get out of that water into
That's going to be
Yeah,
rough.
it's not
40
the warm,
degree
it's
air.
the
That's,
Mhm.
biking a run.
Then you-
yeah. So we figure we'll go through some of that. And as we go, we'll probably give just some general tips on foul weather, running, riding, stuff like that.
swimming.
Yeah.
I don't know how you prepare.
For cold water.
Cold water, rough water. I mean, you got to find the condition.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically
Did you wear your sleeved wetsuit or no sleeve?
no sleeve, new
The
wetsuit.
new wetsuit. What'd you
Oh,
think of
right.
it?
What'd you
it's-
get?
okay?
Tell us first what you get
Xterra.
or not.
Is it a Vortex? Which?
Whatever their higher
The
higher
silver
end,
one.
The silver one.
Yeah,
Mm.
I bought
Vengeance.
maybe. I bought the same exact thing that Greg uses. I figured channel
Oh,
some of
okay.
that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It was I tried a medium large and a large. The medium large felt just the same as my medium long.
Mm-hmm.
So the large felt looser, so I gave it a shot. Might be a tad big, but it was no chest. I didn't feel any of that tightness on the chest, and I felt like my arms could move really well. So I
Mhm.
think I'll try it for a while, see how it goes. So then it gives me leeway to get bigger if I want to.
There was no wrinkles though.
No wrinkles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like my side boobs weren't popping out. It was just like
Yeah.
perfect. So I was like, yeah.
You're just showing them, not popping them.
But yeah, I don't know how you prepare for that other than if there's a practice swim the day before and the conditions are similar.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
have to go
that's it.
in. There were people who were like looking at the water that day, but not opting to go in, or we heard some people say the day of, like, oh yeah, I'm a strong swimmer. Like I didn't do the practice yesterday. Part of me was like, I kind of wanted to warm them, but then I didn't want to get in their head, like to let them know it gets rough by the. And that person came back and they were saying, they're like, oh my God, like that was not what they were expecting.
Good thing I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to try and put yourself in situations like that, which is scary, especially on your own. Like you were at the race, you had lifeguards, you had emergency personnel.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing it by yourself,
Right,
there's
how do you
not
practice?
that. There. I know on the Jersey Shore there are some open water groups that, I mean, we've talked about it before, but they hold like ocean miles and stuff like that. But they also have groups that go down there and
swim
just
every
swim on the
weekend.
beach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a group that goes out to Coney Island where I used to swim a bunch. And
Mhm.
yeah, they just swim every weekend. They meet up and they swim.
So that's kind of my strategy next year, I think, is to sign up for some open water races and just get used to being in waves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, whatever, now I can probably swim in calm open water, but I need to add this level of waves and turbulence, not being able to get a breath. Yeah.
And once you can do that, then the flat water stuff feels so much easier.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Now it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the only thing you could do for swim.
Yeah.
Just seek out harder conditions than
Do you wear, but let's tell, people want to know, do you wear different goggles because it's choppy or whatever?
I wish I had non-tinted goggles for that day because it's very
Well,
overcast.
it's cloudy. That's because the clouds, not the.
Yeah. I always have at least two different. I have like a mirrored pair and like a smoke colored pair, but I also I swim in a pool a lot with clear goggles. So sometimes if I remember, I'll throw a clear pair of goggles in.
Yeah. Clear would have been good that day because it was hard to see. It was so overcast and dark. So yeah, have that ready in your bag. Other than that,
yeah, I mean, the
else.
water was fine. Like the water was warm, right?
No, it was actually 70.
It's getting chillier.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't cold like Muscle Man, but it wasn't warm like everywhere else. It was right in the middle, enough that made me at first when I went in, I was like
okay.
On the practice
realize
swim, I
it was
didn't
that cool.
know I wanted to keep my face in there, but you acclimated pretty quickly to it, so it wasn't terrible. I think it was like 72 or something. It wasn't terrible.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So that's another thing too, though. If it's going to be cold water, they say practice like putting your face, at least your face, in cold water, so that nerve response gets acclimated.
Before every swim, that's why I dunk my head in.
Yeah.
2 strokes, 3 strokes, doesn't matter.
I think it's just so you can pee.
Yeah.
Head. Dunk my head
You
in.
dunk just your head.
Your head.
How do you even do
What do you
that?
do? Wait, do you
Don't
keep
do
your,
the rest of it.
keep your waist above the water?
He's airlifted
Ostrich.
over the.
Hey, like I said, put his head in
Yeah.
so you can go pee. That's the other thing. They didn't have any practice swim that morning. Like no one was allowed in, so
Yeah.
that would have helped, I think.
Yeah, but it's probably just a safety call. Like
Right.
they probably needed all hands on deck for that swim with all lifeguards and stuff. So, I mean, if it's cold, you can hood, gloves, booties, those kind of things.
Right.
Like when you're getting real cold. I don't know what the cutoffs are and like when you can put those on. I
Yeah.
know there's a temperature for gloves and booties, but a hood probably isn't. You can just wear that under your cap.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference.
You could wear
does
2
it?
caps.
Yep.
Yeah, even 2 caps, you notice it, but the neoprene
What
hood
did we
is-
do? We did 2 caps.
We did
didn't
2 caps at Independence.
Yeah.
I
That
did
was cold.
the Rich, like tuck my goggles under my cap for this one, just in case if a wave was going to knock it. I had it underneath to secure it.
Cool.
I don't usually.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the swim is what makes the bike the hard one to deal with when it comes to bad conditions. Like you're getting on that bike soaking wet.
Yeah.
Earliest part of the day, it's going to be the coldest. And like you have to be ready for that. So we all race in the exact same kit now. We're all wearing like a one-piece sleeved speed suit. And I'm trying to think of what temperature are you starting to think like maybe there needs to be something else?
Well, I would think like around 50,
Yeah.
around there. Like I would want, that extra warmth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you get out wet, you riding wet, it's miserable, but like
even like 55 and above. I feel like when we did Independence, wasn't it like high 50s? I didn't feel cold at all.
Was it that cold when we got there? I don't remember.
Was
I
it?
don't think it was bad.
No.
No, I thought it was cold like that.
You might
Because we were shivering.
Yeah, it
I
might
was
have been
shivering.
cool when we started.
Yeah, at the start.
Yeah. But you're right.
But
it wasn't at a temperature where
wasn't
I thought
cold.
about needing anything.
Yeah.
But if you add rain to that, now,
Yeah, now
It's
you're
rain
not
and
drying
wind
off.
and wet.
yeah.
Right. If you're
It's
not
a whole
drying
misery
off, it's
circle.
different.
Well, do you wear? Okay, so do
there's
you
only
make a change to your tires?
Oh, we're going that far into it.
I mean, I think we should.
There are some
Everybody
crashes.
wants to know.
Yeah.
Yvonne
Were
talked
there?
about someone she saw go down his entire kit from the side, just
tore up.
shredded, and
Yeah.
then road rash.
Mhm.
Ouch.
And it wasn't even on like turns. It was just may have been gusts that just like knocked people down
I'll
while
tell
they're
you,
riding.
the painted line is
It's
very,
Very
slippery
slippery.
when it's wet. So it's
No
one of the-
traction.
you should not ride on that line.
Even on this weekend, I went on my run and it was in the rain. And even the asphalt area, my sneakers were slipping.
Mhm. Yeah.
Curious though, like Yvonne witnessed a lot of crashes as they happen. I was like, were you causing the crashes? Like, were they just in your wake and you were just dropping them on the ground?
Yeah.
So what would you do with your tires?
I don't know that I'd change tires out. Like I
Okay.
just
Would you lower pressure a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'd lower pressure 5 psi, something
More
like that.
contact on
Just
the ground.
right. You're gonna just deal with that.
Disc,
little,
no
little
disc.
slower.
There were people with still
I
disc wheel in the back.
I mean, I wasn't there, so I couldn't have felt the wind. Everything I've read and anything I've experienced on the bike is the disc wheel makes you feel more stable. I've never had a disc wheel on and felt like that was the thing that was. If there's a gust, I feel it in the front end of the bike, not the back.
Mm-hmm.
So that in the front, you wouldn't go deep.
You'd ideally not want to ride
Yeah.
really deep. Like I wouldn't have a 90 on there.
I think just transition setup wise, they had to kind of reverse how they racked because if they had the back wheel up in the air,
it just
it
blew
was
the
just
bike.
sliding the
Yeah.
bikes down the racks.
Yeah.
So they put the handlebars up so the wheel would be on the ground.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, are you like even thinking about taking the road bike because you're not going to be an arrow? It's too dangerous. Or are you doing it an arrow?
If I'm questioning my safety that much, I'm not racing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be more advantageous to be an arrow though? Like if
That's what I read.
you have all that wind, you want
I
to.
read that it's
be
better
small.
anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? Like
Mm-hmm.
sitting up more, you might be more like a sail getting hit by it. I don't think it's so much like the consistent wind as much as gusts. Gusts are what's going to throw you off because you're like I mean, I've ridden in a wind where you feel like you're actually leaning the bike into it. I don't think you actually are. It just feels like you're trying to keep weight on that side of the bike. So I don't think I'd want to be any higher up. It is nice having your hands a little wider on the bars, but I don't know.
So in terms of going back to gear though, would you go arm sleeves, gloves, knee sleeves, or long socks? Or if you're going to wear aero socks anyway?
I'd wear a rain jacket if the weather was cold. Otherwise, it would just be kit.
So, I mean, we all have rain jackets, but like you heat up so much in that. I think you'd ruin your,
But
you'd be just
thing,
as
I wouldn't
wet.
wear sleeves because I'd just be just as wet.
Yeah.
I don't know if my arms need the gloves because I'd just be just as wet. Like it'd just be like
No, I think
slushy.
I think keeping your hands warm is nice, especially like you need to be able to grab the brake, you need to be able
Yeah.
to shift, like you need that dexterity and glove. Like I would have things on that I could take off easily and store somewhere. Like so, I would probably go like gloves, arm sleeves, then a vest would probably be my last thing. But I honestly think if I was in gloves, arm sleeves, and a vest, I could race at freezing, like 32 at racing power.
A vest would probably be good
Yeah, vest makes
because it
a
doesn't.
huge
You
difference.
don't over. Yeah.
And hopefully not too much drag.
Yeah,
Yeah. You would get a small one.
get
Mine's
the
pretty
smallest-
fitted.
Yeah, mine's fitted too. And
And I think it's really like you want to keep
Your
your
core.
core warm because if
Right.
that's taken care of, then your
Right.
extremities will be taken care of.
pumping warm blood to the extremities, you're good. So, yeah, I think those three things would cover just about any temperature.
We had talked about on hot races doing a warm, cold slushy drinks.
Mhm.
What if you
Mhm.
had a thermos with a hot drink on a cold
I've
day?
read about people having chicken soup
Yeah,
in their
but
bottles.
that's more for.
I know it's
nutrition.
more for nutrition, but
I
Can-
know,
can you
dummy.
mansplain that to us.
yeah, thank
Rich?
you, James.
Well, here's the thing.
Well,
Let me
duh.
tell you about chicken soup, Marilyn.
Yeah, but if they have it warm, it could help.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've done it on like a regular ride around in the winter.
Yeah.
I just had like hot tea
Mm-hmm.
inside. I think I fit like something like that, like an insulated flask, and it was still
Mhm.
hot, and it's like just instantly
Yeah.
you just
Yeah,
feel
sure.
good. So I don't know. Hot Gatorade.
Yeah.
So how bad was the visor in the rain on those aero helmets? You go with
Yeah,
with
no, they're fine.
I don't
glasses.
think the rain is an issue
No,
if
it
it
was
doesn't fog up.
Right, the
It
fog was the
fogging up.
biggest thing. I've seen people put Rain-X on them. So,
Yeah, those
you know,
that's
Oh,
great.
then it
yeah,
just
that's a good
beads up and
idea.
comes off.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to even stick to it.
Just put it on your body too.
Yeah.
I think another key, and Yvonne even mentioned it. Not even mentioned, even Yvonne. I meant Yvonne mentioned it. Let me word that better. She mentioned, like, just to keep pedaling when it's cold. Like, don't coast. Don't
Right.
like. She had to keep her legs moving to just stay warm. That was key.
Yeah. And I think that would like like the course you're on could make a huge difference. Imagine you're at like a hilly race and you're freezing cold, wet, and you're going downhill. Like that's brutal.
Yeah.
So you definitely, a flat race like Jones Beach. Did Yvonne wear anything other than she wore gloves?
She wore her kit and gloves, right?
Gloves. She wore compression socks, so
She
she
wore
was covered up to her
sunglasses.
knee.
Yeah.
Sunglasses.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about for warmth, I think. You know how
Still
sunglasses,
wearing
you know how
those.
sunglasses work, right? Rich, you want me to explain?
I don't think those helped her keep
That's
warm.
what it is. He started it with the mansplaining. That's God. Come on. man.
She
She
wanted
said
to bring
chicken
arm
soup.
sleeves, and then she forgot.
Right.
Because we had said, oh, like maybe that'll help. Just bring it just in case.
Yeah.
I'd brought an extra pair of socks just in case
Right.
they turned into a bike run.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be not fair to make Koichi do the run
Right.
bike run.
Yeah,
So I was like,
true.
I should have run stuff just in
Yeah.
case. I was like, oh yeah, we could probably make them out. Socks, just cut the ends open.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she said no. She went without it. She survived, so I guess she was okay.
What was the weather? What was the temperature?
Yeah, it
at the
wasn't
bike
super
time?
cold, right? It was only like
I think the high was 60 that
60?
day.
It's not
But
bad, but when you add
with
wind and rain.
Yeah, with the wind
Yeah.
and rain, makes it feel worse because
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you're sweating, and then you're getting cooled, and
Mhm.
it's just not
Mm-hmm.
drying off. It's just you're staying cold and wet.
yeah.
But she was fine. Like I was actually going to try to have like coffee or tea waiting for her when she came in,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I forgot, so I
Oh
I
my
didn't.
God.
But then like I was told her like, oh, do you want coffee? And then she's like, no, like she was fine.
Yeah.
Right
Mhm.
immediately after, and then it was like not till like 20 or 30 minutes later, then she was like starting
Freezing.
to finally like
Mhm.
get cold, and because she wasn't moving anymore. I mean, we got coffee.
Yeah.
And you guys had stuff to put on right after, right? You
Yes.
said you had like robes.
But then it all got wet. Like
so
you almost
that's-
needed 3 changes of clothes because like the
Oh,
clothes
that's a good tip.
coming off the race,
Mhm.
you want to get into something
Yeah.
dry. But then if you're spectating, you're getting wet again.
Again.
So then you need something to change in
Right.
after that.
for the ride home.
Yeah, it makes so I think as we're getting into the kind of the period where we're starting to think about the Ironman and stuff, or at least I am because I'm neurotic.
Mhm.
But I think I would give serious thought. I think I'll probably race in our kit, but I think I would give serious thought on a bad weather day to changing at T2, T1 and T2. Like put on
Dry
real
stuff.
cycling clothes with pockets in a jersey, so like
Mhm.
you can carry a couple like arm warmers, put them on, take them on, put them off when you need to. You're going to be out there for 6,
Yeah, a long
7
time.
hours,
I've heard a lot of people change, I think.
It's
Yeah.
worth taking a couple minutes to be comfortable.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just give you that versatility of
Mhm.
of being able to adjust as you go, and then same thing for the run, like getting out of your wet, nasty kit and put on dry run clothes. I know they're going
Mhm.
to get wet as soon as you get going, but
Right.
different stuff, chafing differently. Like you should, just little stuff like that when it's wet and cold.
We may have to look into what do you call it? Run like a singlet,
Mm-hmm.
next level singlet
Yeah.
for Ironman.
Zoot does all that stuff.
Just
I
in
mean,
case.
They-
but like at what point is it not worth it to switch into, I mean, the bike, you want to be the most aero you can. So, because that can save you tens of minutes. So I'm not going to put on bib and jersey because of that.
I think it depends on what you're
Um,
chasing, right? That's what you're kind of saying.
Yeah, what
Like,
I'm
if
saying
you're
is-
chasing
and then-
podium, you're not changing.
Right. Yeah. And then the run, but the comfort on the run, like putting on a regular pair of running shorts
Mm-hmm.
would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I think the tri-kit shorts are pretty comfy.
They do. I don't ever notice them, but I
Yeah,
also
that's-
don't
that's
ever
just it.
go
I don't
running in my
notice them.
like when I have my long run. I'm not like, oh, let me wear my tri shorts today.
But that's just it. You don't notice it. So.
Yeah.
And then,
That
I mean,
makes
it depends on if it's cold and rainy too. Like, let's say for the Ironman, it's going to
Mhm.
be cold and wet and rainy. Like, maybe consider some sort of rain gear for the run.
Yeah.
But it's not just running.
Man, it has to be so cold though to put on rain. Like, I don't know. You put out so much heat running, and you're moving so much slower.
40 below.
Well, that might be it. You're moving slower, so you're going to get colder.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. The slower you move, you get colder.
Yes.
So just run fast.
Yeah. So
Just run
on
fast.
an Ironman run, you're going to get cold.
Yeah.
Try not to be out there too long. Just
Yeah.
try 2-hour
the key.
marathon.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't get too cold. Bike again? No.
Yeah.
Oh, and we did talk about the little mile-hour tip.
Yeah.
But,
That was
just
good.
having it wrapped up
And
in
even-
a log, though.
And something like
I don't know.
that, she could take it out. She could have taken it off and put it on,
Yep.
whatever
Mhm.
if she needed.
Did she?
That's good.
She cut it so that it was just like chest size.
I think enough so that it would like go around your torso and back.
Oh, okay.
I think that was.
Oh,
the-
like a tube.
Yeah.
Wrapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe I think they said
You
have
would just
in
want
the
it on your
front.
chest,
Yeah,
right? It would block
to block
that.
The
there
wind,
and then
yeah.
keep everything
Yeah.
like radiating
Gosh, if you were
back in.
wrapped in that, all that sweat would.
Yeah, that would
It would
She was
be
actually
like-
worried that like it would create some sort of chemical reaction, like
Oh.
basting herself or something, and then like end up like turning into ceviche or something.
Yeah.
So it was like she's like that's why she opted like just put it in her.
That's why
in the
she.
back.
That was it. That was
Yeah.
the deciding factor. Don't want to be ceviche today.
Yeah, don't turn into ceviche. That would be hand warmers could be handy.
Like the chemical hand warmers.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know if they work in the wet. I think
I think they
would.
do.
I don't think it matters if it's wet or not.
Right.
Yeah.
They work in the wet. You wear them to ski.
Yeah. So in our kits where we have those pockets, it might be nice to
Yeah.
get some second-degree burns.
Yeah. I
Possibly.
was gonna say people have gotten burnt from those
Yeah.
things.
You can put it in your pockets.
I've
Yeah.
put them in my shoes before
While running. What?
on the bike.
Oh yeah, they have the sticky ones that are
Mhm.
flat.
That feels
You
good.
put them on the top of your
Mhm.
foot.
Electric socks.
I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Those are really hot though.
Yeah. They're adjustable, but
Where's
they get
the-
hot.
Battery for the sock.
In the top.
The top.
Yeah, like up by the
Okay.
calf.
Mhm.
I have a pair.
So
Great.
do I.
Wonderful.
I've seen like electric insoles for your shoes
Yeah,
too.
also.
Same
Mhm.
thing, battery powered. Warm
So
up
I
your
just
foot.
wonder how they are in the rain. I guess it should be fine. You can wash them, so
Yeah.
they have to be
Yeah.
waterproof. Just be careful where you buy it from.
Yeah. I wouldn't go
Right.
for the cheapest ones
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
find. Like the second cheapest. It's probably plenty of safety built in.
But I think learning or experiencing riding in rain is important.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Like it can't be that can't be your
That's
first
huge.
time.
Right.
So like if we have a ride plan and this happened and there's going to be rain, like sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
to feel it. Go through a downpour, go through cold rain. We did that one ride a couple years ago at Harriman. And it
Harriman.
just started right from the bat.
It
It's
was
just
pouring.
rain.
soaked.
Oh my
I
god.
But it was
remember.
cold
So-
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it made us all right. It's like
All right, we did it.
checkbox. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
And I still remember, I think it was Yale who said, like, hey, like you don't
Yeah,
know what
you
race
know.
day is going to be like. Race
Mhm.
day could be cold and rainy.
Mhm.
You just got to do it. So expose yourself to the elements.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think there are people who get out there for a race day and the bike's been on the trainer for the whole block and they just,
It's a different feel and they don't know it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you add rain to the mix and it's a recipe for disaster. Yep. Get out there in less than ideal conditions. Meanwhile, it was raining this weekend and we stayed inside and rode the trainer.
But
it was excessive for
We've
us.
already ridden
Could-
outside in the rain.
Could you get the same thing that you needed from
Right,
a
you
workout
wouldn't
by
get-
being outside
No,
in the
same
rain
stimulus.
Right.
for
No.
3-4
No.
hours?
Yeah.
So we're better off going inside.
When We've done rain rides for rain rides.
Mm-hmm.
And how about we move on to the run?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to do differently?
Run faster.
Vaseline.
Yeah.
I'd be,
Where exactly?
wherever skin touches skin.
Or like if
Should
your
we do-
shoes like on the edges, like where your
Toes.
shoes. Yeah.
Do you think
On
we
the
need
inside?
a video
A
of it?
lube video? I think so.
No, please.
Be on the lookout. Lube,
Yeah.
lube strategy,
Oh,
how
no.
to.
Secret scene
The
right
cool thing
here.
is we can sell that to so many different types of websites.
Would Vaseline on the outside of the shoe help?
For
No.
what?
For
To keep the
what?
keep the water out?
No.
There's nothing you're doing to stay dry in
Yeah.
a,
Yeah.
a deluge.
Just hate that
Right.
wet sock feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I love running in the rain.
I do.
Run in the
I said
puddle.
the same thing.
When do you get to do that?
Today.
Enjoy it.
But you
yeah,
ju-
on your run.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, but you just mentioned it. Are there like specifically wet run socks that are made? Like they
I
just
don't know, not
the
sock.
water.
Well, I mean,
There are Gore-Tex running shoes.
I think you
Yeah.
want to stay away from cotton.
yes,
Yeah.
anything synthetic should
Right, should
make your
just
foot at least, or I mean,
feel better.
yeah,
Wool.
feel drier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though it's wet.
Yeah.
Nothing new on race day though. So
Yeah.
I think Koichi said that the Hoka Rocket, even though is that what they call rockets or something? Rocket X?
yeah, he has the Rocket 2 or
Rocket.
Rocket X2.
Even though it's like translucent, like almost as
Mhm.
if it's mesh, it's like tight enough that he said water wasn't really getting in. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's just a losing battle to even
Yeah.
try and keep your feet dry. You just have to, have a little bit of callus, a little bit of body glide or Vaseline on the spots that normally cause you any kind of problem are going to cause you bigger problems.
Because of the
Just
moisture
the water.
and the
yeah.
rubbing.
Mm-hmm.
He said hat was key, just having the visor to
Yeah.
block some of that rain into your face. But no, he didn't have gloves or sleeves or long socks because
Mm-hmm.
I think, like you said, generating so much heat.
Yeah, I think it's hard to get really cold on the run.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just have to train. Like if you have training planned to run outside and you're training and it's raining out, just
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
it. Like,
right.
don't
Do it.
avoid it
Yeah.
because it's raining. Like,
Yeah, the bike, I avoid the rain on the bike more for the safety factor.
Yeah.
But on the run, it's not too bad. So yeah, I don't mind running in the rain, but you just dress for it. But I don't think you throw anything else on.
Do you have to do anything different in your hydration and nutrition when it's a colder, rainy day?
It's going to take your body more energy to keep yourself warm.
Yeah.
So, but I
But
don't know
think
that you
I think
can handle.
the level of exertion you're at. I don't think it's a problem. Like I don't think you have to. I don't think you're
already
burning anymore.
creating-
Yeah.
If you're sitting here at rest, then you're absolutely right. But I think you're generating enough, unless it's super cold and
Mhm.
really slow.
So do you have to drink more or no?
Oh, that was the question. You probably
Didn't we
you
just
probably
say
have
no?
no.
Oh.
You probably
Hydration.
the hydration factor is going to be different, but that's probably more because of the temperature than it is like whether it's raining or not. Like nothing about it being rainy is going to change your hydration
Right.
Yeah,
needs.
temperature
but temperature
does.
is. You're not going to sweat as much, so you're not losing as much fluid. You have to have practiced all those different things.
Yeah. Rich is hydrating right now.
Yeah, can you give me some water?
If anything, the rain and the cold benefits.
Yeah,
me,
I would
the
say
run.
Yeah.
almost until it gets really, really cold. I don't think it's going to hurt you.
Mhm.
It's just uncomfortable.
Right. But
Yeah.
it would have been snow at the Philly Marathon. I was going to say if you had gotten rain, but it was too cold for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the only way it would suck is if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
If you bring, what
Yeah.
you need.
If you're treadmill only,
Yeah. I think
Never
that sums it up, right? Get out there and experience
Mhm.
the elements, learn what works. Because we show up for a ride in February outside and we got people in all different layers of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right. Because
everybody's
it's not the same. for
right.
everybody.
Everybody feels the
Mhm.
temperature different in different parts of their body. Like I put gloves on, because my hands get really cold, but other people are like, I don't need gloves. It's 50 or whatever. But I don't like anything on my head really. Like a regular hat, I feel like
Yeah.
it keeps in too much heat.
I just wear a helmet too, but so many people wear something underneath.
Mm-hmm. I've seen, I used to ride with this dude. He'd wear like a skull cap, his helmet, and then
Oh
put a
my
cover
gosh.
over top of his helmet that like
So hot.
trapped the heat.
Plastic one.
Yeah, it was like a
Like a
plastic
rain
thing.
cap?
It was a rain
Yeah.
cap, but it was made. That's exactly what it was to fit over the bike helmet. And meanwhile, I want an ear band or something on.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's pretty much what
I
I
don't
do.
even use that.
Yeah,
We have shown up for like a below freezing ride, and I believe it was James in his like race kit one time. It's like you knew it was going to be cold. He's like, yeah, but I wanted to.
well, that was
get the
by
experience.
accident.
toughen up.
That was by accident, I think.
How was that by
Because
accident?
I think we went to Harriman, right?
Yeah. It
That
was
was that
Harriman.
Harriman
So I
ride.
read
I
the
just
wrong-
had a regular kit on too.
I was,
Oh, you did too?
That
So
was,
Free-
That's why I was
that was the
freezing.
day it showed. It's always like 5 or so degrees cooler,
Yeah, but
but
I don't know,
sometimes
that
it's
was-
10 or 15 cooler.
I don't think I ever got warm on that, right?
Yeah.
No,
No.
it was
Maybe
so
later when the
cold.
sun came out.
Later when the sun came out.
Yeah. But the
But at
beginning, I was
first,
miserable.
I couldn't even stop. My teeth were chattering.
Yeah. But we experienced that,
We
so
did.
now we know.
Yeah, and I mean, you constantly calibrate. Like, okay, this is my 50-degree kit. This is my, 40-degree kit. And I think the biggest difference is when you're racing, you could probably, it's almost like, what's the rule when you're running? Like if it's 60, pretend it's 80 and dress
Yeah.
for that. It's like a
Mhm.
20-degree thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's probably, racing is probably, I don't know, 20 or 30. Just because you're going so
More
much
amped.
harder. Yeah.
Adrenaline.
You don't need much for the run. The bike, whatever works.
I mean, we've talked about heat acclimation. Is there a cold acclimation?
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I forget what some of the like physiological things that happen are, but yeah, you just get better at dealing with the cold.
I mean, I love cold for runs. I'll
Mhm.
take a
Yeah.
cold
Yeah, me too.
race run
Yeah.
than a hot race run. And
Mhm.
even today when I ran, I was surprised that I felt okay because I don't know, I just didn't feel like running in the rain.
Right.
But the temperature was comfortable, that I felt comfortable and strong the entire time. So I was like, oh, I forgot how it was like to run back when it's cold again.
When it's cold again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when like things kind of turn a corner for me.
Mhm. Yeah. And I've kind of seen that in everybody's runs. Like everybody's runs are just getting that little bit faster. And you're like, oh, because it's only 55 degrees
Yeah.
in the morning.
Watch Wimbledon's gonna be like 95.
Don't even
I know
say
the
it.
the
Don't even
acclimation,
say
the
it.
heat, we can't even do any of it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Don't even say it. It's not going to be.
It's been this
Has it been that hot? Am I just no?
There?
Anyway,
I don't think so. I think it's been very similar to here
Yeah.
overall.
It's too soon to check. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of other things to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anything else we got about how to deal with the heat or the cold adverse conditions?
Just training it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the goal, training it. and
everyone's
then
gonna feel it different.
get used to what you need. Figure out what you need.
And really embrace the discomfort, and because you don't know what race day will be. Race day is not
Mhm.
going to be the perfect conditions. Rarely will it be, right? There's always going to be something. So the more you can experience, the better of a racer you're going to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't trick yourself into thinking it's fun. Like find the joy
Yeah.
in it and just be like loving it. And then you've got half the field beat already because everybody else is pissed off about the fact that it's raining or it's cold or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Quad Pod. Next week might be our Wilmington preview show.
Mm-hmm.
And we forgot one thing. Last week's guest, Matt Schuster, would he come in
yeah.
third in his age
Third in
group?
his age group,
And
sixth
overall?
I thought that moved to 7th overall
Oh.
Okay.
because
But I mean, he definitely got the
Mhm.
podcast bump, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a
come on the show,
yeah.
true.
gain 10% of your FTP, and
Mhm.
race like an animal. So, Matt, congratulations on your race. And
Congrats.
I'm assuming you probably got a world spot, which is down in New Zealand.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
I wonder if he tried that Alka-Seltzer tip.
maybe.
Maybe that was it.
Well, Matt, if you've tried an Alka-Seltzer at T2, let us know, and maybe we can get you an Alka-Seltzer sponsorship. All right, thanks everybody for listening. That's another episode of the Quad Pod. Thanks everyone for listening to the Next Level Quad Pod. We really appreciate you spending time with us and listening to everything that we have to offer. If you like what you heard, please leave us a review and a rating. Those little things go a long way towards us being able to bring you more content like this. If you'd like to learn more about what we have to offer, please go to our website at goteamnltry.com. There, you can find out about all the different things we provide that can help you reach your athletic potential. Thank you again for finding time in your busy schedule to spend some time with the Quad Pod.